Hey. Welcome today to After the Buzzers NFL Week 1 recap. I'm your host, Lee Jones. I got my guy, Marvin Orange, with me as usual. Great NFL action today. We're going to jump right into it and start analyzing the day's action. And as always, please subscribe, comment. We want this to be interactive. Join the conversation. Tell us what you thought about today's week one action or any of the week one action that started off on Thursday, and tell us what you think. Marvin, it was some great action today, man. I just want to jump into it. First and foremost, I just want to ask you, what did you think about the Tyreek Hill situation? I know you heard about it. He was arrested outside of the Dolphins facility, right outside of the stadium, handcuffed, put face down. Supposedly, it was a traffic speeding incident, and he was arrested. What are your thoughts on that, Mar?
I mean, I don't know. I don't want to get ahead of the situation because there's not much that's known. They're now saying that there's a video out that shows Tyreek probably not in the best light. So I'm gonna,
Okay.
I'm gonna hold judgment on that. I mean, it's unfortunate and it's a bad look. No way you look, any way you look at it, but it sure as hell didn't affect his game. So
He
I
really
think he
did.
had 7 catches. He had 7 catches. He did his thing, and then he mocked getting arrested. In a celebration. So he don't seem to be too worried about it. So I'm gonna say I'm not gonna be too worried about it either.
All right. Well, let's start right there, man. The Dolphins played the Jaguars today, and it was a great game, close game. Uh, Jaguars jumped out early, 14-0, right? Uh, Trevor Lawrence to me, I've always said, Marv, with the Trevor Lawrence thing, I'm just not so. And I know he's down from your neck of the woods, but I have never been sold on Trevor Lawrence. Uh, 12 of 21, 162 yards. Jacksonville didn't score in the second half. What are your thoughts about the game? Trevor Lawrence as a quarterback going into, I think this is his fourth year, and how Miami sees the game in the second half.
I mean, I'm with you on Trevor Lawrence. I never was big on him when he was in college. I mean, one game basically made the legend of Trevor Lawrence against Bama in that championship game when they kind of lost their mind and couldn't cover anybody. So, so I've never been high on him. 12 for 21, 162, like you said. He made a couple of nice throws. The Terrence Marshall Jr. throw in the back of the end zone was really nice. Put that on a rope. But again, I just don't see any consistency out of him to make me believe that he's good enough to lead Jacksonville anywhere they want to be. I think Tua had a nice game. I think he threw for 336. They looked really out of sorts. And maybe that had something to do, was attributed a little bit to the Tyreek Hill situation. I'm sure that caused some strife. Miami did look a little out of rhythm. But Jacksonville had every opportunity to kind of take this game. They had every opportunity to put this game away, and they couldn't. And that's kind of the career of Trevor Lawrence at this point. A lot of hype, but no substance, to be honest. So I think Tua started off the season well. Like I said, 336. He led him on a game-winning drive to get a field goal to win the game. That's a great way to start the season. Great way to get confidence for him. Miami still got some of the same things that I think are gonna be their downfall at the end of the year. I don't know what's up with Jalen Ramsey. Maybe he's injured. I think they said he had a hamstring injury, but he's kind of losing that cornerback number one spot in my eyes. So they still got some holes they got to fix, but good win for them. But yeah, I'm with you. Trevor Lawrence just not. I'm not sold.
Yeah. The interesting thing about it is, they really can't run the ball. I mean, ATN he had one touchdown, but they really don't run the ball well. The issue is, what does Jacksonville do well, right? Not great on defense, even though they only allowed 20 points today. But I just, when all the hype came out about Trevor Lawrence, he was the next great, and I haven't seen it yet. Look, Tua does what Tua do. He throw the ball on time. He throws the bombs out to Tyreek Hill, 80-yard touchdown. Miami get their first win of the season. Kudos to Miami for going 1-0. But to your point, same old, I think, for both teams, to be honest with you. Miami's showing that they can throw the football down the field. They play good defense. But for me, it's more about what Jacksonville hasn't done and keep not doing as opposed to what Miami is, Marv. Want to quickly shift to Arizona and Buffalo. That was a great game today. Arizona jumped out early, had the early lead. Kyler Murray was balling early, man. They were balling. Uh, 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 some suspect calls in that play calling in that game, if you ask me, for Arizona, running on 3rd and 6 when they they could have tied the score, a kick in a field goal. But I like what Arizona did. I like what Arizona did, but same old, same old. They were like this last year. They would be in ball games, they would have leads, and then they would relinquish those leads. Josh Allen, 18 of 23, 232 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, 2 running touchdowns. That's what he is. James Cook, I like James Cook, though. James Cook runs the ball really well, 71 yards rushing. And then Keon Coleman, he has to morph into their number 1 receiver. He had a good game. So in all, it went the way I thought it would go. Arizona did play very well, though. And I like Kyler Murray and their offense. They just cannot, for some reason, finish. Mark, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Kyler Murray to me, just like Trevor Lawrence, 21 and 31, 162. I mean, I keep waiting for Kyler Murray to be this, whatever it is everybody says he's going to be, but I still don't see it. I don't think he can lead a franchise anywhere. I think Arizona, they are who they are. If I keep seeing the same thing from you over and over again, then how can I expect anything different, right? I think Josh Allen, I like what Buffalo has done with him. I think they really morphed an offense around his talents. I like some of the play calling. I love James Conner. Keon Coleman might be a really good fit for him. And 4 touchdowns today. I think Josh Allen probably going to win the NFL MVP this year. You heard it here first. I'm going to say it right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, well,
Man.
I mean, you can have your feelings however you want to feel about it, but I'm going out on a limb to say right now, Josh Allen going to be the NFL MVP this year. I mean, they're not going to win the Super Bowl. It's only about 3 or 4 teams that can win the Super Bowl this year, but yeah, the Bills did what they needed to do. Arizona, the same old Cardinals. It is what it is.
All right, all right. Let's talk about the rookies right now. Caleb Williams. They played Tennessee, Marv. Got the victory 24-17. Caleb he didn't knock your socks off. 14 of 29, 93 yards. Really struggled, but the team struggled offensively. I thought they would move the ball better than that against Tennessee. Caleb, like any rookie, there's a learning curve, but I didn't expect their offense to struggle the way they did. Defense came up in the second half and really won that game. Punt return for a touchdown. A fumble recovery for a touchdown. What were your thoughts about Caleb Williams today, Mark?
I mean, I talked about Will Levis on the show some months ago that we had. I talked about the fact that I couldn't believe he was drafted as high as he was. So thank goodness Caleb Williams playing against Will Levis today, because any other quarterback would have beat that performance that you saw from the rookie today, right? Tennessee's going to be in a lot of games this year because their defense is good. So, I'm not going to take too much from it because he is a rookie. It's a steep learning curve in the NFL. He didn't look good, though. I mean, I will say that. But Will Levis looked just as bad. With him and that offensive line that needs to be rebuilt. Tennessee's in for a long season because I just don't trust it. Shout out, I think it's Jonathan Owens, if I'm not mistaken. That's Simone Biles' husband. If some of you didn't know, got a touchdown for Chicago today. So check him out because I know we all love Simone. So her husband got a touchdown today. So yeah, Chicago, hey, a win is a win. You take it, you build from it. I think that they'll, Chicago will be competitive this year, and I expect that Caleb Williams will get better, but it was a rough outing for him today.
All right, yeah. What were your thoughts really about Jaden Daniels as well? We saw Jaden Daniels. The Redskins took a tough victory. I mean, tough loss. He ran the ball extremely well. I think he had 82 yards rushing. A couple of touchdowns on the ground. Ended up throwing for 217 so yards. What were your thoughts about Jaden Daniels in his NFL debut?
It's same thing. I think he struggled. I think some of his success came late when it was a little bit out of reach. Baker Mayfield played well. I think he was 23 or 29, maybe somewhere around there. Almost 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. Baker has resurrected his career, but again, the rookie struggled. Washington couldn't really get a running game. Brian Robinson Jr. couldn't really get much going. Tampa Bay is sneaky good. I think a lot of people not really looking at Tampa Bay, but Baker's done a good job. They got some weapons with Godwin and some other guys. But Daniel struggled. I suspect he's going to struggle a lot because he just doesn't have a lot around him. And I don't think the recipe for success with him is 80, 90, 100 yards rushing a game. I think that's a bad recipe for a rookie in the league. So hopefully it turns around, but I think he's in for a long haul too.
Yeah, and the final rookie, Bo Nix for Denver. Bo Nix, I mean, sort of pedestrian on again, he's probably in the same boat. 23 of 38, 138, had two interceptions. Decision making to me was the biggest kryptonite for Bo Nix. Throwing the ball a little inaccurate today. Denver's going to struggle. Denver's going to struggle offensively. Marv, a lot of people was thinking that he was going to be the most NFL ready quarterback coming in playing for Sean Payton. I didn't see it today. What are your thoughts about Bo Nix coming into the game today?
Yeah, and remember they dumbed down the offense for him a lot in Oregon. Oregon runs a really I don't want to say pedestrian, but it's a real basic offense. So I saw Bo Nix at Auburn. I know what Bo Nix was at Auburn. I saw him at Oregon. I never have been high on Bo Nix, and I think what you saw today is probably what you're gonna see out of him. He may have some great games. He may have some games where he outperforms his talent level, but if you count on Bo Nix to win you NFL football games, I think you in for another long season too. Seattle looked good though. Kenneth Walker ran the ball well, over 100 yards. Geno spread the ball around. Seattle, quiet as kept, got some weapons. They got some receivers out there that he can kind of throw it to. So watch them. Potential wild card. They may upset some people. But yeah, Denver gonna have a long season.
We're going to have a long season. And the last one I want to jump into was Justin Fields' debut today with Pittsburgh. I really wanted to get your thoughts on how you think he played early. A little shaky start for him, you know what I'm saying? A little shaky start. Scrambled, ran the ball pretty well. I just think they put him, I don't like all the quarterback runs, and he got hit a lot today, right? I didn't like that. But, Mark, what were your thoughts on Justin Fields getting the start for Pittsburgh? Pittsburgh kicked 6 field goals, and you can't get into the end zone. That's going to be a problem. What are your thoughts? Justin Fields, Pittsburgh's defense played well, as they always will. What are your thoughts on Justin Fields and the Steelers today?
I mean, I think we're going to see pretty much what we saw last year, Lee. They're going to rely heavily on that defense. They put Justin Fields in a lot of situations to not fail. They were very conservative with their game plan in terms of passing the football. He took a couple shots, but they wanted to be very conservative with him and use his strengths, which was getting him out of the pocket and running the football. They had trouble finishing drives, and that's just because in the NFL, you got to be able to throw it. So,
Yeah.
so at some point, I would suspect that when Russell gets healthy, you have to put Russell back in just to see what you have there. But look, the name of the game is to get a win. The bigger issue is for Atlanta. Kirk Cousins looked like trash.
Look like
So
trash.
so I suspect he gonna be on a real short leash when you got Michael Penix Jr. sitting in the background in Atlanta, the black quarterback, the lefty that can sling it. So Kirk Cousins better wake up a little bit. Although Kirk Cousins played the system better than anybody we know, but he looked like trash today.
Interesting. When can they get out of that contract? How much? He's got his guaranteed money, but how long they have to stay into that contract? Because I agree with you, Penix is just sitting there. He looked like trash. His decision making, but that's who Kirk Cousins has always been. He's played the system exactly the way you think. He got paid. He keep working the system. This is probably his last big contract, but I look for him. I agree with you, turning to Penix very, very soon. Last game I want to touch on, Marv, is, and I see that Robert Agee says, hey guys, Cleveland needs to let Deshaun Watson go. I want to stay with the Dallas Cleveland game. I want to get your thoughts on Dallas and Cleveland and what you saw in that game from the Cowboys, pretty much dominating Cleveland the whole game.
Yeah, look, you got to give credit where credit's due. Dallas defense showed up. I mean, offensively, they were pretty pedestrian, but they didn't have to be much more than that because their defense was suffocating today. So I'm gonna give Dallas a lot of credit. Micah Parsons was everywhere. That secondary was really, really good linebacker play. They couldn't establish anything up front against the D line. So I'm gonna give the Cowboys credit. You got to get them boys credit on defense. They play really, really well defensively. But I agree with Robert Agee. I think you see in the beginning and the end of Deshaun Watson. So, I don't know what he is anymore. He missed a lot of open reads today. Some things that could have got his team in the position to maybe make this a game, but Dallas really did dominate them. But this is a recipe for Dallas. If they can play defensive like this all year, which I suspected they will be able to, and put Dak in situations to be successful. Ezekiel Elliott looked good today. I'm gonna give him credit. He ran hard, and Cleveland's defense isn't bad. Like, let's not act like Cleveland's defense is a slouch. So if you're a Cowboys fan, which we know one person on this panel is, we're gonna let him go into his diatribe here in a second. But if you're a Cowboys fan, I think you're feeling pretty optimistic. But at the same time, before I give a love affair to Dallas, we all know that they do this every year. This isn't what matters. It's gonna matter as it gets later into the season. So, resident Cowboy fan, tell me what you felt about the game today.
I'm not going to take up much time because I expected what I saw today. I expected it. People have been throwing shade on Dallas's off-season moves. I love what they did in the off-season. I said it already, so I'm not going to go deep into that. I just want to – the Deshaun Watson thing is interesting. Marv, he really didn't have time to do anything today. Let's be honest. I mean, they sped him up. The offense was jumping off sides, penalty after penalty. They weren't blocking. Michael Parsons did whatever he wanted to do. So I don't know if it's a referendum on Deshaun Watson yet. It's a referendum that they had, offensive line issues. A couple of their tackles were hurt. So I would say this. Let's see what Deshaun Watson is going to be. I'm not ready to let Deshaun Watson go. He can still throw the ball coming off of that shoulder injury. So I want to still give Deshaun Watson a little love and a little leeway and a little grace because Dallas was all over him today. And by the way, Ms. McHouston, the $60 million man, as I said he would be, is Dak Prescott. Well-deserved young man. Dallas did the right thing, set up for the next 4 years. So that's it, sort of what I feel. Go Cowboys. We're going to
Yeah, you can't hate on that contract now. Look, I can hate on a lot of things about the Cowboys, and it's because they don't win championships. But look, it's free market, right? It's what the market wants to pay you. And Dak Prescott put himself in a position to capitalize on what the market says he's worth. And you can't be mad at that. So I'm not mad at generational or a couple generational wealth that he can have for his family, his children. I'm not mad at that, but he still got to win when it matters. And that's the part that I'm going to be interested to see as the season goes along. But kudos to him for getting that money but the Cowboys didn't have a choice either. They had to pay him, and you knew they was going to pay him.
Well, I mean, he's top 5 quarterback. They definitely have to pay him. Mr. Houston, Dak Prescott has done a lot. I mean, he was second in the MVP voting last year. And as I always say on this show, he has the same stats as Patrick Mahomes over the last 5 years. So contract well-deserved for Dak Prescott. Marv, I'm going to catch up some of these people because a lot of them want to talk about the Colorado game. I do want to jump into that for a minute because they want to talk about the Colorado
before you catch up on them people real quick, we got to do the Colts and Houston, the Texans real quick. We got to talk about them for 1 second. We can't let somebody off the hook.
Absolutely.
Two of us got wins today. And I know one person didn't get a win today, and their quarterback only completed 9 passes.
Hey, I ain't on camera now. Cool out.
Look, we said it all along, Marv. He's going to have some splash plays, Anthony Richardson. I mean, 2 beautiful bombs down the field. But that's all he was today. I mean, and that's all he was. I like the touchdown run that he did down at the goal line, showed power. But that's a recipe for him to get hurt again, trying to run with power, trying to run over linebackers. And as I said, Steichen, for him, supposed to be an offensive guru, genius, Marv, I didn't see it today. I didn't see it at all today. And so, the Colts, I just think they're going to struggle. And look, Anthony Richardson may end up being a very good quarterback. He has a long way to go with accuracy and decision making. Because look, you're not going to run over linebackers like that. You better start understanding how to get down when you're running that football. But they were in the game. But let me say this: C.J. Stroud is a man. They hit Stephon Diggs. They're going to incorporate in him. And then, Marv, you said it. You said it. Joe Mixon, a beast. So Houston's going to be a problem. Go ahead, Marv.
And the Colts, just for all you Colts fan, it's 11 straight opening day loss. So just got to put that out there, man. It's not looking good for Indy. It's a long season, but it wasn't a good start. And they had a chance to actually win this football game. That's the
They had a
sad
chance
part
to win.
about it. They actually had
Terrible.
a chance to win this football game.
Bad play calling down the stretch, Marv. Bad play calling, and then like the decision making. I didn't like that from Steichen, and Steichen's supposed to be an offensive guru. So you're absolutely right. You can't give away games, very similar to how Arizona gave away the game, I think, today. So absolutely, absolutely. But I want to jump into a couple of them. First of all, shout out to Coach Teddy Keaton and Clark University. We always a friend of the show. We want to shout Teddy out. Best decision Dallas has made was to pay CD. I agree with that, but it's also the best decision is to get the quarterback under contract. Lamb made Dak look good. Dak gonna make everybody look good. Y'all tripping. And then Miss McHouston haven't won a Super Bowl game. We have 5 Super Bowl trophies. I don't know what that means. We'll get another one in 2024. I think that's what it's
I
coming.
think she meant Dak. And slow, pump your brakes. It's one game. Pump your brakes.
Yeah, we'll have another one. We'll have another one on the mantle. But let's jump into this, Marv. Let's jump into the Colorado Buffalo game yesterday. I know that's the glowing subject that everybody wants to talk about. You and I, we had a lot of text exchange last evening, and then I also want to get into the Alabama game before we break out of this. But let's jump on Nebraska and Colorado. Definitely wasn't a great performance by Colorado. I think they got dominated up front on both lines of scrimmage. Even though the defense did play better in the second half, they really came out. They didn't allow Nebraska to score, but the damage was already done because the offense couldn't move. Look, Nebraska had some physically intimidating linemen up front. And their linebacking core, they had big people. Matt Rule has done a great job of beefing up that line of scrimmage. One of the best teams money can buy. I give him credit for that. And the Raiola kid is legit, even though he didn't have a great game, but he's legit. But Colorado got whipped up front. That's what happened yesterday. There's no taking a backseat to that. They couldn't handle the front. Shadua didn't have time to throw the football, and that's something that's going to happen. Look, football is about matchups. Every team is not going to have that type of defensive line playing against Colorado. The ones that are not that strong, Colorado can compete. If Shador has time to throw the football, Colorado will be in the game. If he don't, and you play dominant defensive fronts. Now, remember this, that's a Big Ten team. I don't think there's defenses like that in the Big 12, Marv. So Colorado's be all right. They're 1-1, got the same record as Notre Dame, Clemson, and a couple other people. So headed towards 6 wins. That's all they need. Go ahead, my brother.
I mean, I think you summed it up pretty well. I think everybody knows how I feel about Colorado. I think they all talk and really no substance. I mean, you can't win in today's college football without an offensive, defensive line and guys who can control the trenches. I don't care how good your damn skilled players are. If you can't get them the ball, it's not going to really matter, and that's what you saw. So again, all I heard all off season was how much they upgraded on the offensive and defensive line. And to me, it looks a lot like it did last year. It looks pretty much the same. So until they figure that out, you're going to see Colorado being the same as they were last year. Unfortunately, that's what you're going to see. And there's a difference between, and we always had this debate, Lee, but there really is a difference between building programs and building rosters through the transfer portal. Everybody's not a good fit, right? And you bring in that many people, especially on the offensive line, it's really, really hard to get cohesiveness in such a short period of time. And I think that's what you're seeing with Colorado. They're really out of position, and nobody wants to talk about the fact that Colorado, adjustment wise in that game, like it looked, they got out coached all the way around the damn stadium. They got out coached in the first half. And then and see the what people always don't fail to realize is yes, halftime adjustments are important, but what's more important are in-game adjustments, right? And the ability to adjust and adapt in the course of a football game. And Colorado has really struggled with that, right? Pat Shurmur, didn't do anything different to get Shador some protection, which they could have done, and they don't have a running game. You can't win today and not be able to force people to at least think that you're going to try to run the football. And Nebraska wasn't worried about Colorado running the football at all. And I like Shador. I think he's a top 5 pick. I think he's that talented. Travis Hunter, y'all know how I feel about him. But they got to get some things together, or you just going to see this pretty much the same as what you saw last year.
Well, again, most of the teams in the Big 12 struggled yesterday, Marv. So you're going to have to look at the level of competition that Colorado is playing against if they can get to those 6 or 7 wins I'm talking about. It's one game. It's against a physically dominating team that has been built in the image of other Big 10 teams that like to run the football and play defense, and they ran up against a physically superior team. Not any different from Tennessee dominating NC State yesterday. Also, by Northern Illinois dominating Notre Dame on the offensive line. It happens. So all of the burying Colorado right now, I just think that's much to do about nothing. They're 1-1 on the season. They still have all of the Big 12 season in front of them. I will agree with you on one thing, Marv. Where I sort of struggled yesterday was you stayed in your 5 wide receiver set the whole game. They have 2 tight ends on their roster. They should have brought those tight ends to help block on the offensive line. Shermer is a professional coach. He knows better. I agree with you there. He knows better than to do that. So that point is well taken. But the point I need to push back on with you is about the transfer portal. Marv, the hardest positions to recruit in college football is the line of scrimmage, offensive and defensive line. You can get all the skilled players you want, but everybody wants offensive and defensive line. That's why your guy, Nick Saban, would stockpile them 10, 15 offensive linemen every recruiting class. So when you talk about Deion trying to get offensive lineman, Marv, going through the portal is the way to upgrade that talent. So that's where I disagree. Now, again, you have to get better talent. There's no doubt about it. But from where you were to where you're at now, I'm comfortable with Colorado. That was one game. We're going to see the season play out, and let's see how good they are.
So here's a thought, though. You're paid to coach and develop talent. So if you're telling me that last year's offensive line was trash, when you were telling me before, not you, but just in general, when people were telling me that he upgraded to position before last year started, and then that was the end result. Now you're telling me again that you've upgraded the talent, and we're seeing the trend that they can't block anybody, right? So at some point, you've got to build continuity and you've got to build some type of culture within your program. Maybe it would have behooved Coach Sanders to coach up some of them guys that he had last year, add a couple of pieces, build some cohesion within the offensive line instead of just getting rid of everybody and rebuilding and trying to start all over again, because you pretty much got much of the same, right? And as you said, offensive linemen are at a premium and you need to get them. But it's also hard to put 5 guys together and expect them in 3, 4, 5 months to come together in game situations when you see teams throwing the kitchen sink at them to get at Shador. It's just not it's not a good look.
So we can make and points are well taken, but we can deduce all of that from a loss in one game when we see teams dominated. Michigan got dominated by Texas. So should Michigan scrap their whole offensive system and development of their players? They were physically dominated by Texas.
But this is a trend, Lee. This is a trend. This isn't. That's a one game domination. No, it's not. We saw this all last year from Colorado. This is a carryover from what we've been seeing. It's a carryover.
It's one game though, Marv. How can you say it's a carryover when it's just one game? I mean, you cannot.
Is that not what doomed them last year? Is that not what got Shador Sanders hurt and couldn't finish the season last year? Was the inability to block people?
Absolutely.
Was that the problem? Okay. Is that the problem in the first 2 games that we've seen this year? They couldn't block
one sack in the first game. They gave up 1 sack in the first game. They gave up 1 sack, Marv. I can't agree with you.
I know you a prime. I know you love prime.
Yesterday's game was a problem. But this is the last thing I want to say on Colorado, and then I want to get Alabama in before we exit here. So I have all these people, and you and I were texting yesterday, that are talking about Coach Prime. He needs to get off of social media. He needs to do this, that, or the other. Colorado ain't worried about Coach Prime. Coach Prime, the best thing that happened to Colorado. Colorado's not getting rid of Coach Prime. Coach Prime has done everything he needed to do. Marv, you build programs. You're in year 2. I've asked this question over and over. Tell me any coach that took over the worst football team in Division I football and turned them around in 2 years. You have to give him time. And again,
he got rid of. I told you this last. He got rid of that whole team.
He was supposed to get rid of that whole team.
Okay, so stop acting like he's coaching that 1-11 team. He's not. He's coaching his program. This is his program now. He got rid of everybody that was part of that, and he is coaching his own team. So let's stop the narrative of they were 1-11. Yeah, they were 1-11, but none of those people are still. They won there last year. This is all Prime.
He's building a team. Now let's go. Well, he's building a team. Okay, so let's go to your team, and then before we get out of here, Alabama, and what we're looking at before our eyes right now is the demise of the Alabama program. It's starting to creep down. It's starting to creep down because really, South Florida was dominating your offensive line yesterday. They were pushing you back. You blew it open late. But it's the same thing. Now, Alabama is the 5th best team in the SEC, in my estimation. Georgia, Texas, Ole Miss, Tennessee, then Alabama. Now, building a program, Caleb DeBoer now has to build it in his own image, Marv. Not Nick Saban's image, because the Nick Saban way of running Alabama is over. And you see the slow demise of the Crimson Tide right now. And that's what I'm saying. Now your Alabama fans have to let Alabama and DeBoer retool that team, because you cannot play Nick Saban football with Kalen DeBoer's mindset. Your thoughts?
So when we're talking about Colorado, it's just one game. Okay.
Well, okay. Well, that's no.
Your words, not mine. It's just one game. So now we see a Alabama team who struggled against USF, mind you, the same team that Nick Saban struggled against last year, and probably one of the dark horse to make the college football playoff. Besides Memphis, USF, and Boise State, those going to be the 3 in contention. So let's not act like South Florida wasn't a decent football team. But yes, Alabama has issues up front that they got to rectify. Nobody's acting like that's not the case. But to say the demise, and you win and you still close the game out and win 42-16, and you're going to tell me that Tennessee, Georgia, Ole Miss is better than Alabama when none of them have beat Alabama, and they haven't. Georgia didn't beat Alabama last year. They 6-1 against Alabama. All you pinning your hopes on Georgia, you're going to get to see in about 2 weeks when Georgia come to Tuscaloosa. So make sure all of y'all are around so I can find you. You're going to talk about Tennessee, who haven't beat Alabama. You're going to talk about Ole Miss, who Alabama basically shut out last year. So I get it. At some point, I guess all of you will be right when Alabama finally takes a step back. If you keep saying it, you've been saying it for 35 plus years at this point, I guess at some point you're going to be right. But I'm sorry, it ain't going to be this year.
They backpedaling now, Marv. They backpedaling now.
Nobody back. And the SEC going to get 6 teams in the college football playoff because they're the best conference in college football, and it's not even close.
Milroe, I said this earlier, and it's true. He cannot run Caleb DeBoer's offense. That's not who he is.
They're not running his offense.
That's not who he is.
They're not running his offense, Lee. That's, as they say, that's fake news. They're not running his offense.
They're not
running Caleb DeBoer's offense.
I've never seen the Alabama quarterback get sacked as much as I saw and be harassed as much as I saw Milroe yesterday.
I guess you didn't watch Bryce Young with Bill O'Brien then, because that's a blasphemous statement. Because I guess you
over.
didn't watch when Bill O'Brien was the offensive coordinator, and I guess you didn't watch him with Tommy Reese last year.
Thank you, Tyrone Gavance. I like that statement. Georgia is absolutely better than Alabama, and
They were last year
this is the
too.
last
They
year.
were last
Absolutely.
year too.
Thank you, Tyrone Gavance.
Georgia got a national championship because Alabama had two of the best receivers in the nation hurt. That's what got Georgia a national title. Oh, y'all,
These Alabama people.
I know you waiting. I know y'all can't stand it. You waiting. But I'm sorry,
Bama
you're
is
going to be
on the
highly
decline.
disappointed again.
Marv, we saw the demise of it, and I want all of the Bama fans to keep on, because quietly being kept, they're going to struggle against Wisconsin next week as well, and you'll start to see. I'm telling you, you're trying to fit a square peg in a circle with Miro.
You mean the same way that you said Colorado was going to beat Nebraska? You said the same way that Clemson was going to hang in there with Georgia, or you said Arkansas was going to be the upset special over Oklahoma State? I don't know if people need to be taking football knowledge from you right now, because you on a loser streak, except for them Cowboys. We'll give them Cowboys, but other than that,
Arkansas should have won. This is what I'll tell you,
shoulda, coulda, woulda, didn't.
All of my Alabama people, and we're going to get out of here because I know we're coming up on time. All of my Alabama people, keep tuning in, because we're going to take this ride and this journey together with Colorado and Alabama and all of the college football. You're going to see that Tennessee, Ole Miss, certainly Texas. I see you didn't mention Texas because you know Texas is better than they are.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Bama got pushed around. Absolutely, Tyrone. That's what I'm saying, Tyrone. While they're talking about Colorado, Alabama got pushed around in the trenches, both offensively and defensively, and you've never seen that.
Defensively? Defensively, they gave up one touchdown off a turnover. They gave up one touchdown.
South Florida was running the football all day on Alabama.
The quarterback had 100. The quarterback had 100 yards. Man, now y'all just now I'm trying to figure out what y'all's football knowledge now, because now you got me a little bit concerned to say that Bama got pushed around defensively last night. Now I'm concerned. Offensively, I'll give it to you. 75 was trash. The offensive line looked like trash yesterday. I'll call it like I see it. But to say they got pushed around defensively, man, y'all smoking crack.
Robert Agee, Cam Ward may win the Heisman Trophy. In the ACC, Miami could possibly run the table, and Cam Ward could be the Heisman Trophy winner. He's that good. And Miami, with their talent and with him at quarterback, I think they have a chance to go really far. I think they'll be the ACC champion in the playoffs.
All y'all buy stock in Miami if you want to. Mario Cristobal gonna find a way to mess that up. Y'all buy that stock if you want to. Mark my words about Mario Cristobal.
Hey, guys, this has been a great show. We're going to, each Sunday at 6:45, we'll come on going forward in the future. We also have a show at 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern on Saturday mornings, where we'll recap and do overviews of the day's college action. We'll talk about some of the issues surrounding sports. So we're going to be on at 11 Eastern, 10 Central on Saturdays, and we're going to come back, do the recap on the NFL day, and talk about some of the pressing issues in football. So this has been a great show. As always, we love the comments. Thank you guys for commenting. Please tell your friends to subscribe to the show. Tyrone Gavance, I thank you for joining us today. Marv, any parting shots before we get out of here?
The Chiefs are still the class of the NFL. I don't even think it's close.
Well, Marv, the Chiefs are a good team. I think Baltimore is going to have something to say about the Chiefs. On Facebook, I put a nice comparison of Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. Marv, we'll talk about that next week. But guys,
you didn't put them playoff stats up. You didn't put them playoff comparisons up, though.
Guys, keep rolling with us. This has been a great show. I'm your host, Lee Jones. That's the Hall of Famer, Marvin Orange. Please, next week, join us. Peace.